Hey guys, Norlok here from your own Bronze Dragonflight. In this video I'll be explaining some of the aspects of fights that will increase your DPS outside of spec stats and rotations. So hopefully with enough practice of some of the things I explain in this video, you'll be able to do the most DPS you possibly can. As always, I hope you find the video useful and enjoy. So at the start of every fight there's something you can do which will give you a very slight increase in your DPS. Most people are aware of the fact that you can buy potions and use them in fights for things like heroism and other important burn phases, but what some people don't know is that if you use your potion a few seconds before you engage a boss, the 1 minute cooldown of that potion will start so that you can use it again in that important phase. What this does is give you a slight boost to your DPS at the start of a fight, which can be very helpful overall. The same tactic applies to soul burn in conjunction with soul harvest. Us warlocks need to keep our soulfire damage buff at all times, and we only get 3 chances in a fight to use soul burn to instantly refresh it. But if you use soul burn before a boss is engaged, and then use soul harvest, you'll be starting the fight with 3 soul shards and 15 seconds to use your soulfire to get the buff. I recommend that if you're using the two things together that you ask for maybe a 5-second countdown before the tank pulls the boss, and on the 5 seconds you use your soul burn and soul harvest, and then hopefully you'll be able to use your potion on about 2 seconds. So this means that the cooldown of your soul burn will come off quicker and you'll have more time using the benefit from your potion. Something that is often overlooked by players is that we have a demonic portal that allows us to instantly move from one place to another. It is a utility that most people may not think has a place in PvE, but it does. Almost every boss fight in the game will require you to move from AoE damage or to be at a certain place at some point in the fight. And if you study a fight and find out the best place to put your portal, you can save yourself the time and DPS loss by just teleporting there rather than running. It may seem as though it won't do much for your DPS, but if you need to move a lot in a fight and you're using this mode of transport, overall it will save you quite a bit of DPS loss. Similarly, if your portal is at a certain place and you need to run somewhere else yourself, using the correct spells during this running can also affect your DPS. Using life tap if you don't have full mana means that you won't need to use it at a certain point in the fight, and seeing as it's instant cast we can use it while running. Refreshing damage over time effects that are instant cast like Bane of Doom and Corruption can also be done while running from one spot to another, and you can also use 2 Fell Flames to refresh Immolate to the same point as a fully cast one. Being aware of what spells you have in your spellbook is a must-have if you want to maximize your DPS. Basically what this means is being aware of what spells are good for different engagements. For example, there's no point putting Bane of Doom on an ad that won't live for more than 15 seconds because you won't be getting the full benefit of it, seeing as it can only be put on one target. In a case like this, your best bet is to put Bane of Agony instead, for the simple fact that it deals more damage in the same space of time. The best way to choose the right spells for a fight is to simply read up on all the spells you have in your book and base your spells in combat on what you've learned. The same can also be applied to talents and glyphs, where you may only need a certain set of talents for one fight and a completely different set of talents for a different fight. For example, Jinx in the Affliction tree would be quite useful for a fight where there's a load of ads. Again, the best way to make sure that you make the most out of your talents is by reading up on your talent trees and being aware of what you have at your disposal. Managing your cooldowns can have a major effect on your DPS. If you just blow your cooldowns whenever they're available, you could be missing out on some valuable DPS. For example, by combining a number of cooldowns together, like a Haste Trinket and Demon Soul, you'll be increasing the rate at which you cast your spells and also their chance to crit together. This increases the number of spells benefiting from your Demon Soul because you can cast more spells during its duration. I would recommend that you pop your 1 to 2 minute cooldowns during the start of a fight when you have your pre-pot, and save your larger ones like Doomguard for a point in the fight when you're using something like Heroism. Also, if you can, time the cooldowns of your abilities so that you'll have most of them available for when your group is using Time Warp or Heroism. Latency can be a big factor to why some people feel they're not getting the most out of their DPS. High levels of latency means that you aren't casting as many spells as you really could, and therefore reducing your DPS. So to reduce your latency, you can change a few settings on your computer to improve it in game, and I'll leave a link into the description to a video that will show you just that. Also, to further help improve your DPS due to latency, I would recommend that you spam the button of the next spell that you're going to cast, so that you're not relying on the animation to indicate when you need to cast your next spell, because it can be a few milliseconds out, which in the long run leads to lower DPS. So by simply spamming the next button of your next spell, it should increase your DPS. That's it for this video, and I hope you found it helpful and informative. Remember that most of the tips in this video are based on my own personal experiences, so if you have any changes or any of your own ideas, by all means leave a comment below. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.